We're going to talk about film grain today because I think a lot of digital photographers don't really understand what film grain is, and there's this competition for the most reduced noise that one could possibly get in an image, to the point that there is no such thing as grain anymore. But grain actually has a very strong place in the world of analog photography that we've somehow forgotten about along the way. Grain is a good thing, and what's happened in Adobe Photoshop is a good thing. What we have seen with this last update to Photoshop 27.3 is the addition of film grain in Photoshop as an adjustment layer. In updates from Adobe, we're used to seeing them take things from Photoshop and put them into their RAW processor. But now with this update, we're getting things from the RAW processor that have been there the whole time and put into Photoshop. This image is just screaming to have some film grain added to it, not only because it's a high-key black and white image, which just works so well for film grain, but because it's also an AI-generated image and they don't understand grain very well. So we're gonna add grain to this to make this image feel a little bit more realistic and give it the feeling of a printed photograph. And you might think, first off, Blake, grain is easy. I move a couple sliders and it's there. But I'm going to give you some best practices that you're probably not looking into when you're working with your film grain. And I'm going to give it to you from the perspective of someone who was once an analog photographer who understands what grain was. So this will be a little lesson in how to apply film grain and a little lesson in what film grain actually is. So first off, let's talk about this grain, and then I'll talk about what I'm going to do to make this grain feel like it actually fits in this image really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the adjustment layers and put on grain. You also see clarity and dehaze. I've got another video on that. It'll be in the description below. It's a companion video to this. I'm actually going to take this image a little bit further with clarity and dehaze in that video. But for now, grain. We're going to click on grain, and when you click on the grain, you see here you have three sliders. You have an amount slider, a size slider, and a roughness slider. Here's what I always recommend every time something new comes out in Photoshop. Move it to the 9s. Push it as far as it can go in the amount slider, and then push it as far as it can go in the size slider, and then push it as far as it can go in the roughness slider. All right, so now you can see that this actually looks like an old film image from, let's say, the 1900s. This is great. It might not be great on this image, but if you're looking for a really unique effect that can take an image from 2025 and make it feel like it was photographed in 1925, this would be one of the ways that I would do that. I would obviously work with blend modes, blend diff, and some other creative ways to make it fit like a little bit better. But this is how I go about experimenting with these tools. So now I'm just going to reduce this size because I don't like this. I'm going to reduce this amount because I don't like this. And I'm going to reduce this roughness a little bit. And I'm going to zoom in on the image, specifically in an area where we have contrast, or a darker area, and brighter area. So high contrast to low contrast area is a good place to zoom in for this, especially for the next part that I'm going to teach you here. So if we look at this, we can now see this grain a little bit better. I think that this grain, to me, kind of favors more of a lower amount with a lower size amount. And then the roughness amount is just pretty much how far you want to take this effect. I don't think that the roughness at a low roughness works very well because it looks like pixels, nor does a size very low look very good because it looks like really sharpened pixels. So the idea behind film grain here is you're kind of going for this softer feel. This film grain is going to soften your image a little bit. So grain actually lived in the emulsion, not in the paper. When a negative was printed in the darkroom, light would pass through the film negative, or the emulsion on the film. If that area was black on the piece of film, it would translate to white on the piece of paper. Therefore, as the light would pass through the film, anything that was clear would then be processed onto the piece of paper, but anything that was black would not. So essentially, anything black on the negative would show paper white and not film grain. So grain is most pronounced in the midtones and the shadows, and it naturally just kind of falls off as you move towards the highlights. There shouldn't necessarily be any film grain in the areas where there's white in your image. So we're going to take a look at how we can reproduce this on this image. So when I zoom in here, you can see in these areas of white, there is still grain happening there. When I turn this off, that is relatively white in that space, but this grain is attaching itself to that white area, which really isn't how paper would work in the film world. If we look at this spot, you can see that too, right? In this space right here, there's grain that shouldn't be there. This is where I'm going to refer to something called blend if. But blend if in this case will allow us to seamlessly make that transition from that area that should be white and keep it white and slowly transition it into those mid-tone areas so that film grain falls off on what should be considered paper white. That way when you go to print, you won't get this film grain in the white areas of your paper. This is key. It's critical. That's why I like the fact that this is in Photoshop now. I never used it in Adobe Camera Raw because using it in Camera Raw meant I had to do Adobe Camera Raw as a filter and make a stamp of all my layers, and it was just a mess for a non-destructive workflow in my personal opinion. So I would either avoid it or do it at the very end of my workflow. Now, when it's right here inside of Photoshop, I can do it at any point in my workflow and be very comfortable with it. So blend if, where is it? If I double click this, that's going to bring us into the layer style dialog, and right here is where blend if is. But what I want you to do is, if you're following along on your own image, turn color overlay on and change this to normal with an opacity of 100% and change this to magenta. 255 red, 255 blue. We want full on magenta, baby, because what we're going to do here is when we go into the blend options, I want to show you how we can protect the underlying layers highlight areas. So if I want to protect the underlying layers highlight areas, I'm going to click on this slider right here and move it this way. The reason why I told you to turn the color overlay on is this will give us the exact placement of where this grain is going to be in our image, and that is critical. Okay, so as of right now, this grain will not affect anything that is starting to show up in white as it transitions into gray. Right now, the grain would only be on anything that is covered in magenta in this image. Now, this is a very hard edge mask, and we wouldn't want to mask anything this way, would we? No, but if you press Alt or Option and click here and split this, you can feather this slider so we get that nice, smooth transition. So essentially what I just did here is this area was getting no grain. As I slowly move this, that area right there is starting to get some of that grain, but it's tapering its way into that grain based on the amount of light that we would allow onto our paper as if we're thinking in the film world. All right, so now if I don't want this color overlay on here, just turn that off. This is just a visual for you so that you can see that. If you want to keep it on, you can, and press OK. And you can always control that color overlay right here in your layers so you know exactly where that is affecting your image. One thing that I have done on F64 Elite is made a course called the Unrivaled Blend If, and it's a complete blend if panel right here that shows you everything that is happening in your layers with blend if. So as of right now, I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this. You can see right here, this is the blend if settings that I created, and I can even move this over without having to go into the blend if settings for this. If you're looking for this panel, it's a gorgeous panel with many, many different ways to utilize blend if. There's going to be a link in the description below. But as of right now, I'm happy with where this is. I'm going to go ahead and call this a day, because that's all we really need to know when it comes to film grain, in my personal opinion. We just want a nice subtle effect of film grain on the image and have it placed in the areas where it needs to be placed. Now I am going to take this image to another level using clarity and dehaze to get even more of an ethereal feel from this image to make it really high key and gorgeous. And I'm going to do that in this video right here. If you like this tutorial, please consider subscribing. I like to take difficult things in Photoshop and make them seemingly simple so you can use them in your workflow today. Be sure to check out that video.